The reports are accurate. As of today, the Pittsburgh Steelers have designated JuJu to return from injured reserve. He's supposed to practice, which is Thursday, which is today. So we should be hearing something.
Already would have happened?
Yeah. So
it's almost
it should
4
be
right now.
Yeah, so we should be getting the updated practice report. So that should be dropped. If it hasn't dropped yet, probably within the next 10 minutes, it'll be coming out. So it'll be interesting to see just what his availability looked like in terms of his return to practice. But initially for me, man, I like the fact that he's progressed enough in his recovery that he's actually able to get on the field and practice right now, that they would even open up his window. Now, in terms of how realistic it is to me that I think he'll be out there on Sunday to play, I don't think he'll be available just yet, for the simple reason of he had an upper body injury. I believe it was the shoulder collarbone area. And the thing is this: JuJu's style of play is predicated on physicality. It's predicated on running guys over, stiff arms, blocking, that type of stuff. He's not an agile guy. He's not a make you miss type of guy. So when you talk about a receiver who's going to be hitting typically guys that are bigger than him in terms of linebackers, some of the D linemen that he's forced to block on some of these outside running plays, I don't think that puts him in the best position this soon from his injury. And then when you're just talking about the simple mechanics of getting back to work, right? You go from him doing his rehab with trainers, which is one way. Then you progress to where he's at right now, right? Where he's actually gonna be able to get on the football field. But it is a difference in intensity. It's a difference when you're running and doing these drills on the football field, but on air, versus now when you have a defender across from you. Practice defender is different than a game defender, right? We talk about that in terms of your practice squad corner is not going to be, I'm drawing a blank on my man. Charvarius, how's his first name?
Ward.
Yeah.
Ward.
You left it at Ward. Smart man right there. I tried to be bullish. I was like, let me go first and last name. C. Ward. Okay. It's a little bit different there. So for me, man, that's kind of where I lay with it. But I am excited for him, though, that he's at least progressed to this stage. I mean, dude, weren't we just talking about this? Was it Monday?
Someone brought it up, I think, last podcast. It was between him, Tuitt, and Alualo.
Yeah.
And we said JuJu.
We definitely.
So it looks like we're right.
You called it, man.
Out of those three, at least.
It was Nostradamus. Let's go, man.
I have some questions, though.
Oh.
Why bring him back to practice then if you don't think he's playing? Like, is he taking someone else's snaps right now? Because I know he's Ben's guy. So
right.
if he's out there, is he just doing it with like the third team, second team though?
Man, so I ain't know if you wanted me to go that deep into this thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I'm really interested.
Yeah, so yeah, we can get like, I got time. We can get in depth with this. So with this situation, with him coming back from injured reserve, he's not out there with the ones right away. If anything, because this is going to be his first day out there, the only time he would probably work with Ben would be doing individual. And that's like the first 15 to 20 minutes of practice where you're just with your wide receivers, no combat, no defender across from you, just pat and go is what we would call it, where you see the receivers running routes on air and you're just warming up. That is probably the full extent of him with Ben, with the whole team. Because right now he can't protect himself if you put him in a situation and a defender shoots a hand at him. He can't protect himself if he's running a route and say it's pass interference, but he falls awkwardly on his shoulder. He can't protect himself from that right now. So they can't put him out there in those type of settings just yet. So he's not taking reps from other guys. But what he is able to do right now is further progress and further advance along in his recovery. Because with rehab, when you're on injured reserve, you can't do anything with the team. You can't do any on-field stuff with them. You can't even work with your coaches on field, because that's the whole rule with the injured reserve thing, right? So for him now, he at least gets to catch passes from a legitimate quarterback and not a trainer. You know what I mean? Because, I don't know if y'all seen the training staff in Pittsburgh, but the head guy's kind of older. You know what I mean? I love Norwood. That's my guy, man. Saw him at a Pens game like 2 weeks ago too, man. But it's like, man, those guys, they're throwing it to JuJu. It's not the same.
They need me to be throwing the rock out there.
Well, you got to be on the staff. You get on the staff, you can throw it. You know, it's that simple, man. Yeah.
So not practice squad. Don't even get me for that. Just like for injured guys, be tossing the rock.
You know what I mean?
Throw some fade balls.
They got internships and everything available to you. I could put you in touch with the right people, man. But that's ultimately the biggest difference for him right now. So now he'll actually be able to get out there and run not 100% route, but he'll at least be able to up his tempo during the warm-up part of practice, during the individual portion of practice, which is still going to be good work for him. But the reason in terms of why they would activate him right now, remember when he went down, the expectation was, hey, he could be available in the postseason. But at the time,
bring that up.
But at the time, we weren't winning. At the time, we were going through our, we had our highs and lows, and we were in a low right then. So it was kind of like, man, we don't anticipate a playoff run or even making the playoffs at that point in the season. Which
depends on who you talk to.
Well, we get that, but that was the biggest reason why a lot of people just said he's done for the year. Even you said that out your mouth. So with that being said, when they talk about a postseason run, you can't wait till next week. You can't wait till the week after that. You're running out of time in terms of just allowing him time to get out there and practice. So you do this with the faith that, hey, man, if we get out of here this weekend, maybe he's further along next weekend, and now AFC Championship game potentially or Super Bowl, he's available to you. So that's why you activate him now, even though you know he's not available to you this week. You just want to get that clock rolling. So at least now he got one practice. He'll be out there tomorrow, get another practice. Then you get out of here with a win. Now he's going to get a chance to get some more practices next week. Whereas if you waited till next week, you don't get any of these days. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest reason why you activate him now. But I still, like I said, AFC Championship game to me, as we said the other day, like that still feels like best case scenario. But I still feel like that's going to be in a very hurried time frame in terms of like going from being activated Thursday to playing 2 weeks from now in an AFC Championship game where the stakes are high, the speed, the intensity, the physicality, everything will be on full display. To me, that just seems like not a lot of time.
Am I wrong in feeling that this injury, though, compared to a lot of others, is lighter? Is it a break? Do we even know what the injury is? Is it a broken collarbone? Is it like a broken? I don't even know what other type of bones are up there.
Whatever it was, he had to have surgery for. So it was significant enough that he had to go.
It was actually surgery.
Yeah, he had surgery. Yeah, that was the whole.
That's right. I remember that. Yep.
So with that, that's the reason why when we say, is it significant? If it's a different position player, sure. But for JuJu, that's why I was talking about at the beginning. It's like JuJu isn't a make you miss guy. JuJu isn't a run by you guy. JuJu runs through you. JuJu runs over you. Remember, even when he got hurt, what was he doing? Stiff arm the guy trying to run over, got slammed, right? That's his game. So you're not going to change that, but that highlights the injury as well. So you're going to put him in that position where we know, even if he's out there at this part with that quick of a timetable, he's still not 100% recovered from it. So you're going to put him out there with the potential of making it worse. And that's the part where it's like, dude, that's why I said best case AFC Championship game, because he knows that, his agent knows that, and the team knows that as well. But that's just, it's one of them things where we got into the playoffs. So now you can do these type of things a little bit here. But that's why I don't really anticipate him being available anytime before AFC Championship game.
Interesting. Yeah. I was surprised to hear the news. I know the dude brought it up, and we speculated and said, all right, I guess JuJu would be the one out of the three between him, Tuitt, and Alualu. But then, the day after to hear that he's activated, I was a little shocked. And I was with you initially. I'm just thinking, this is going to be down the line thing. I mean, best case maybe next week, maybe the following week. But then I thought about it more and more, and I was like, all right, if he's practicing, let's be real, we could kind of use him. I don't know how he feels. Like, if he feels really good.
Yeah, man, if he feels like he's great, sure, go for
why not?
it. Yeah. For me, the other thing, if I'm JuJu, is this. If you're going to go out there, remember, this is a contract year. You haven't signed a long-term deal with Pittsburgh. You don't have a long-term deal on the table next year with anybody. So, once again, saying what we talked about James Washington, it was like, man, you did what was better for the team, kind of being quiet and not really voicing anything. And in the end, it's really going to bite him in the butt in terms of his market free agency wise. Well, for JuJu, it's similar conversation. You come out here in this postseason and you're not 100% and you re-injure it in any way, shape, or form. You got free agency coming up in a couple of months. The team gonna have to decide if they want to pay you or let you walk in a couple of months. I understand we talk about a blind faith. Do you believe that they're going to honor you and this and that? But you put yourself in that position. If you go out there less than ready and you put bad tape or re-injure yourself in any capacity, that's the business side that he also has to factor in as well.
That's for sure. Yeah. He could help himself, though. If, he's able to get a few catches, help us advance in the playoffs and stuff like that, because I don't think anything throughout this season has really helped his case for free agency.
I would agree. because when he went down and the offense wasn't where it wasn't where it needed to be anyways when he went down. So yeah.
So I don't think his contract number is that high anyway. But if he could come in, be kind of like the savior for the offense, narrative wise, then that could definitely help him.
Yeah, and you sound like the team. The team is selling him that. I'm sounding like
you think they're actually saying, "Hey, play this week."
No, I don't think they are. But if they were, that would be the approach that they would take. Hey, man, you could be the savior, bro. You could be the difference. You could be the missing link. And I'll be that veteran in the locker room with him, like, JuJu, don't listen to none of that nonsense, bro. Because if you hurt your shoulder, if it doesn't go like that, you look at the full body work of this offense this season, it's too inconsistent to bet your future on that. But if you want to do that, just know this is what you're walking into. That would be my rebuttal to that comment. Just like I said, as the player side, not fan, not team side, just player to player. That would be my message to him because of that and because of how cutthroat the business is. And they would turn around and say, what? Man, we got Deontay, we got Claypool. We don't know how to pay you. You know, we felt like Ray came in here and gave us some stuff and some clutch catches at some times. Like, that's some of the stuff you got to worry about. But that's how the business goes. And when you're in these type of situations like this, those are some of the factors that you got to put in this equation before you make that decision to go out there or not, man.
I know you're talking organization. Are you also including coaching staff? Because how do you think they're handling this? You think they're taking a more conservative approach or are they trying to push him out there?
I don't feel like for him. I feel like for him, his position coach, no, because I know Ike Hilliard, former player, he's saying the same thing I'm saying. Because we know how just that part works. And as a player, when you've been burnt or you've seen enough of your friends get burnt on those type of situations, you're just a little bit more cautious. You're a little more cognizant of it. And you want to make sure that, hey, if you can speak up for a younger guy might be going through that, you give him that knowledge. So that's kind of, what I would think Ike Hilliard approach would be. But
I have to assume JuJu wants to go, though.
Of course he wants to go. I mean, you don't go out there to practice if you don't want to go. You know what I mean? But it's a difference between going out there to practice and going out there and playing in that game. That's all I'm saying. So it's like, man, and you always hear the phrase, this is more so with the concussions when they did the independent doctors, like, yo, sometimes you got to protect the player from himself. Sometimes you got to protect the player from the team. This is where you talk about your medical staff, and they really have to be the ones that are saying, hey, I don't care what the player says. If I'm watching him and I physically can see it, it's visible to me that, hey, he can't protect himself, you gotta shut him down. But that goes back to the training staff. Now, the training staff is compensated by the organization. So that's a whole nother conversation to have, but it's a lot that goes into that thing, man.
Good news either way.
Yeah. Awesome news for him, though. Number one, we know he's healthy. Number two, we know at least he's progressed on track or even ahead of schedule to the fact that he's able to practice this week. Those two things are really good. And I do hope that especially if we get out of this weekend, that it's like, man, if you've had 2 good days of practice or you have another good day next week, that, man, yes, it could maybe be a game time decision. But I don't want to see him out there this week. I just feel like it's too close.
Or even like just too soon, some type of an additional nugget, additional reason for hope with the team. Man. Him being Ben's guy, him coming back for Ben. Dude. Like, these are all added stuff. So I'm sure if Ben's thinking in the back of his mind or even some of the teammates, we win this one, JuJu could play next week.
No, absolutely, dude.
This would be really cool.
No, absolutely. And trust me, that is a conversation that will be being
It doesn't
had.
hurt, at least.
No, it adds to the motivation. It adds to, we need more reasons, right? Hey, they doubt us. Hey, it's Ben's last ride. Hey, they don't believe in this guy. Hey, they said I'm not good enough. Okay, we know JuJu, man. He been busting his tail all year long to get back for this. We here now. Give him the opportunity. He want to help us win. Give him the opportunity. Like, that's how you sell it to him. That's how you preach it to him. And trust me, they going to feel it. They going to eat it all up. Because we going to need all that, baby. We definitely are.
This would be a humble JuJu, too. He's not coming back off this injury, dancing right off the bat and shit like that. This is like head down, locked in, just helping this team win a Super Bowl.
No, absolutely, man. So that part I do like. And remember when I talked about the Tuitt situation where I said if Tuitt were to come back, say he waits all the way into the Super Bowl and now he's like, I want to come back. And I said, man, you could potentially have guys looking at him some type of way, especially if your playing time is decreased because of him returning when he's setting out all season for various reasons. With JuJu, I don't feel like that would be the case because JuJu has been a staple here. JuJu has been here. He's been on the field. He's played this season. He went down in the game and he's then busted his tail to get back out there. So I don't think you would have to worry about that dynamic as in contrast to with Tuitt and his situation.
And the only reason JuJu's been out is strictly because of the injury. Tuitt, there is injury, but there's also potentially motivation, other off-field stuff that he could be dealing with, where it's just like, do you want to play or you don't want to play? We don't know all this, but we're just kind of speculating. Whereas JuJu, it's strictly been injury. And as soon as he's been, I guess, free to play now or activated to play, he's on the practice field.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, like I said, for me, I love that part with him, man. Like, we've had people that would come at JuJu for, you know, how committed is he to football? How committed is he to winning? Is he more a brand guy or a football guy? I feel like he's definitely done enough during his time here, especially this year, especially this offseason and things like that, to prove where his mind is, to prove where his heart is, and to prove what priority number one is. Does he like to have fun? Sure, but who doesn't like to have fun? But I do think it's a difference in terms of how we view him versus how people were trying to perceive him or put a label on him at times.